The entirety of advertising has completely changed. Most people come from the world of 2017, 2018, 2019, where things were just ripping. Give me a offer, I run it, get it working. Facebook's gotten more expensive. Google's gotten more expensive. Go learn and give it everything you've got.
One of the things that we haven't been allowed to talk about for many years, a lawsuit that you had with
Sunday 4 p.m. comes around, boom, I'm gone off the platforms. All my following is gone. I can't log into anything. And that just started a 10-month show from there. The entirety of my business came from my social presence. It took a huge hit for me from a revenue perspective. I've been so far down this rabbit hole for so damn long. What am I just going to 180 and off? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Rohan.
Brad.
Thanks for coming to Austin, man.
Thanks for having me here.
We recorded episode your episode 2 or 3 of this podcast.
Yep, back in San Diego.
San Diego hotel room.
Correct.
This one will be, I'm not going to say more fun because I think we had some fucking fun that time.
We did have fun.
As a refresher, for those that don't know you founded GrowRev.
Correct.
Performance-based marketing agency. You guys have spent more than $100 million on ads.
Well, more than that. Yeah. Trackable right now, we could say we've spent north of $400 million.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about a bunch of things, but I want to start with just ads. Where are people wasting money on ads in 2025?
That's a great question. So my thing is with people that are wasting money on ads in 2025 is we've come from, and I'll kind of back up before and explain my answer a little bit long-winded because it is, if we're looking at the coaching info world, that's how we met initially. Most people come from the world of like 2017, 2018, 2019, where things were just ripping, right? You could give me a shit offer, I run it, get it working. Where now a lot of people are still in that mentality of living over here, but not realizing the entirety of advertising has completely changed, right? So it's like Facebook's gotten more expensive. Google's gotten more expensive. People are addicted to the idea of, I want to get that 2, 3, 4, 5 times ROAS without actually understanding it's not the ad that is the advertising that's actually going to be the problem. It's actually your entire offer. So when people are wasting money on their ads, they're actually wasting it because they don't have their offer dialed. And a lot of the clients that are coming to us today, they go from agency to agency to agency. And I'm very straight up on the call. It's like, if you're just going to bounce from agency to agency versus actually taking a look at the deeper problem, which is your business, you either have one or you don't. And let's fix that. You're going to just keep burning money on ads because the costs are going to continually keep going up every single year. What we're now noticing in the world that are people that are starting to actually listen and do the things that they want to do is leveraging other platforms. One platform that we're really honing in on very hard this year that no one's really been talking about is Snapchat. And the reason being is top of funnel for Snapchat's phenomenal. Direct data from them of their target audience on the platform right now is 35 plus, average income $151,000 per year.
Oh, damn. Really?
Yeah.
That surprises the hell out of me. I think most people think about Snapchat as like little kids and dirty pictures.
Exactly.
Yep.
But the thing is, you actually understand, if you look into it more and more, it's parents today, their kids won't respond to them unless they're on Snapchat. That's directly from Snapchat. And then I start having conversations with people and they're like, yeah, my kids will literally only respond to me on Snapchat. Well, I can only talk to my kids on Snapchat. So now all of a sudden you put the 2 and 2 correlation together. That's the reason why the demographics just getting older on Snapchat.
Interesting. So what's the, let's say, first I want to highlight, you said you have to have a business to run ads too.
Yeah.
I think that's a hilarious way to say it. You also use the term offer, and people that are in direct response use that term, get it. And a lot of people don't have a business but sell one product or they have one offer, right? But functionally, it just means have an attractive proposition for the product you're selling and have an escalation path to convert it.
Correct.
Right?
It goes back to old school direct response marketing, right? It's like I came from a world, I studied from Dan Kennedy, Jay Abraham, like the OGs, right? If you understand true direct response marketing, when they were doing mailers, it's like they never had a ROAS. ROAS only really came into play when the digital age came into play. It's like people would go negative on the front end for weeks before they saw profit on the back end.
Because there's no tracking.
Because there was no tracking.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I mean. Pre-internet.
Yep.
But so it's like, if you just use that mentality of, hey, how much am I willing to spend to acquire that customer on the front end? You are willing to now go aggressive on your marketing. And now you're not burning money for your business. You're actually doing it properly. And we have more access to tracking today than they did back in the day. So if you just use that same mentality of what worked back then without any tracking to what works today with tracking, you're sitting on a gold mine, but remove the dopamine and the addictive personality or addictive outcome of wanting to be 4 or 5 times ROAS in the front end when it's probably not going to happen. But if you understand your LTV and then factor that back into the front end, now you can get to those ROAS numbers.
Yeah, I mean, know what your customer is worth and know what you're willing to spend to get them. Ultimately. Yep. We could talk for a fucking hour about that because specifically recurring business models, but how you calculate that with a recurring business, like we have a specific attrition curve, right? Yep. So how long does a customer last?
Stickiness.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And we have to put a number on it, right? Yep. When we want to back into that. What marketing belief did you hold 5 years ago that you no longer hold now?
What's a good question? Goes back to the thing we just talked about. I honestly didn't think. I think my marketing belief really shifted during COVID. And the reason why I say that is because the way I looked at marketing as an economic cycle, right? It's just like we have a 7-year economic cycle on average for most things. And the marketing cycles usually work in the same way. Whereas COVID, because everyone was locked in and stimmy money and everything else, it just kind of shortened that curve and the ROAS numbers and everything else went through the roof. So what I thought before COVID was, we got at least another 7 to 10 year run with the way marketing is going today. But that completely shortened the curve. And it's like, okay, well, now we have to go back to true marketing, like I keep talking about. And it's pretty much what I've been talking about through even all of my content now that I'm coming out on is we're in an era of actually taking the time to figure out what your marketing needs to happen versus just throwing money at shit. Whereas before, it's like, give me a shit offer, like I said earlier, and I'll just throw money in it and I'll get it to work.
And figure it out.
Yeah.
You've got Snap and TikTok and Meta and Google.
X,
yeah. Right? Pinterest.
Yep.
How do you think about the marketing mix with that, the ad spend mix, and where do you think you get the best return? Is it by industry? Is it by product? What does that look like for you when you bring a client
one of the things, I think we briefly talked about this yesterday. So one of the things that we're building now internally is like an AI tool. It's been around for a long time. It's called media mix modeling. And essentially, it used to be super expensive to do before, like $250,000 build outs for media mix modeling. Essentially, what it does is 30,000 foot view answer for someone to understand this. Let's say you've spent ads consistently over the last 52 weeks. Okay. Over the last year, I can take all of your data, put it into this tool that we're building, and literally tell you which platform is going to give you the best, and to almost a 90% accuracy, the best CPA at what time frame for the next 13 weeks running forward. Right. So then now I can take all your Google spend, all your Facebook spend, all of your Snap spend, everything else and test. And then if we don't have any data on Snap, we'll start testing Snap to see what your front end AOV to back it out based on your previous CPA and AOV numbers. So it's going to tell me, hey, Facebook's going to cost you more, but if you go top of funnel on Snap and then bring it back through Meta, the tool is going to tell you exactly what you need to do and when and how to shift your budgets and campaigns. That's the way to look at your marketing today.
So have a magic tool that does it for you is what you just said.
Pretty much. And we're building that tool.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
So,
but there's tools out there that exist. If you just look up media mix modeling, it exists.
Media mix modeling?
Yeah. But you could do it now with AI very, very, as long as you know how to feed. And the thing is, you have to, AI, the game of AI is just data. Yeah. Right? We're fortunate that we've been sitting on $400 million plus worth of data over the years. Okay. And so it's like we've just fed it into this tool. And it's like literally we tested it with 2 different companies recently and we took their 2023 numbers and we fed it to the tool and said, okay, give me based on these numbers, where does 2024 look like? And then we looked at their 2024 numbers and that's how we knew we were within 90% accuracy. Both of them.
Okay. So, I mean, I think let's talk about numbers then, because at what point, how big does your business have to be to worry about that versus start with a platform, get ads to work on a platform?
Yeah, we've got array of businesses, right? We've got stuff from mom and pop shops, or even let's just call it home services, like HVAC companies. And it's like those guys are just local, geo-targeted. So you can spend $100 a day there and just do that consistently and just keep scaling on one platform. Meta is always going to be the go-to right now, no matter which way you look at it. And then as you start scaling and spend, then it start to diversify. Once you start getting past I usually like to say $50,000, $60,000 a month in advertising, it's like, okay, now let's start removing these eggs and kind of sharing them in other baskets, because we all know things can go sideways with platforms at any given moment, unbeknownst to whatever. They just wake up tomorrow and ban you for no reason too.
So rough numbers are start with one platform, Meta's the suggestion, and at maybe $50,000 a month, you start to look at, I should open up to other platforms.
And then start doing, just simple Google ads, and then kind of go down that. And you should always be targeting. Like, one of the things that we notice right off the get-go when we take on clients is they just won't even run like a small budget on their own Google name on ads.
On their own name?
Yeah. Because, and then the competition's picking up ads, right? Like, there's a big name. I'm not going to say who it is, but I did this for, and we were like, how are you not spending any money on your own name? Do you realize how many people, and literally within 90 days, we picked up $2 million worth of revenue just by just targeting their name on Google.
Yeah. I think that's like, I think for early entrepreneurs that are just getting into it, that's a sort of a bizarre concept of advertising for your own name, because you're like, hey, that's mine, right? And they probably rank for it. Hopefully they rank for it.
Hopefully they rank for it.
But it's important because your competitors are probably doing it.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, if you ain't going to do it, your competitors are, and then if they're smart, they're going to know, okay, if he's my direct competitor and he's out running it and someone's searching easy pay direct or whatever, then they're on top of you. Now the Google ad's going to take that listing right off the get-go and you lose that traffic. Yeah.
Okay. So you talked about getting your offer right before you run ads in the first place. How do you go about testing offers? So like historically you worked with a whole bunch of clients that would bring you basically a terrible product or terrible service, and you would just run ads to figure out how to get the offer to work.
Correct.
What is that process like? How do entrepreneurs do it?
Well, multiple things, right? Now, there's two ways to do it. One, if you've got the budget, you can test pretty aggressively with creative. And we're testing very, very aggressively with a lot of creative on the front end, just to try different hooks, try different headlines, everything else, to landing page, see what the cost per lead, what the cost per acquisition for each of them is going to be. Or the other part of it is just simple. It's just what we're really diligently doing now, specifically in the info space, is going through and like just auditing their customers, because a lot of the times what the offer owner thinks their customer wants, they're not even talking to their customer to see what they actually want and why they actually bought. And then just doing a simple audit with their own customers gives us more data back to how to fix that offer.
When you say audit customers, like surveys?
Yeah, like just go surveys, emails, or get on phone calls, like legit just call your customers.
And craft the offer based on that.
Based on that, because you'll start to see patterns. Right. Yeah. Like it's the little, it's like, what's the cliche term? It's like small hinges move big doors. It's like those little tweaks can make huge differences. It's like, you hear I'm talking about like get your offer right, but it's like, yeah, get your offer right. But it's like at the end of the day, if you've already done something that's worked, I guarantee you, your customers will give you more feedback and more copy for your offer just based on the words that they're telling you already.
Yeah. I have a friend that recently exported all of their customer service reviews. So they have an automated survey that's been going out from their CRM for years, right? Exported all those, pushed those into ChatGPT or the like, and just analyze and said, hey, what are the most common things that people are bitching about?
Yeah. And then fix that.
Amazing. Yeah. And I was like, that's a brilliant, actionable thing you can do today. Like stop what you're doing right now and go do it.
Yeah, because that alone will fix, and that goes back to sticky rate too, right? Like it goes back to LTV being increased, because if you're getting those complaints and it's like fix the complaints, you're going to get more money out of the customer long term, anyways.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about you've worked with a bunch of different business models. You spent, we have a bunch of overlapping clients in the education info product space, which is like now the creator
economy.
Yeah, right. The labels have shifted, but it's the same shit. Yeah. It's the same
info.
Shit.
Yeah.
What's the escalation path that seems to be working right now for conversion? And said another way, what is the funnel that people are using that's actually resulting in an ad converting to a sale? Is it like, and let me frame this for people. Depending on the product you have, maybe if you're like an e-commerce store, maybe you just run an ad that goes directly to sell a product.
Yeah, like a hero product.
Yeah. And and that's even that construct is like a marketing specific construct, right? But if you have a service, then you might need to have a call with somebody, and you might have a book a call, or a high ticket. You might have a book a call funnel. So an ad that runs to book a call, and then you have to get on the phone and pitch them. What funnels are working right now and what's not? You can pick a vertical if you want.
Yeah, like I think like if we're just talking about book a call funnels, there's two ways. There's two things that I'm seeing working right now. One that I'm testing very aggressively for what's working for us, because our entire business model is based on book a call. And two is just simple VSL funnels, just work, right? But it's like making sure, and the thing is, VSL funnels work really, really well still, but having some sort of free opt-in lead magnet on the front end, so you can start building your list and start building that customer data point behind, and making sure that you're consistently emailing them as well as hammering it. On the opposite side with the VSLs, the one thing that I notice when we look at VSL clients right now is they aren't testing on ads as aggressively as they should be. And I'll give you a perfect example of this. When we take on a client, and let's just say they come to us, they'll be like, "Oh, my cost per book call is way too expensive." And I go, "Why is it? What's your cost?" Let's just use arbitrary numbers. Like, "Oh, it's over $350, $400 cost per book call." Yeah, that sounds ridiculously expensive. And then I literally, while I'm on a call with them, I'll go on Facebook Ads Library and I'll just look up how many ad creatives they're testing. And they're like, "Okay, how much are you spending?" "I'm spending $25,000 to $30,000 a month in ads." "Okay. I'm looking and you only got 6 ad creatives live right now." That doesn't make any sense. In a world where the platform needs more creative to get in front of you, like you at $25,000 to $30,000 a month, you need to be testing per week 25 to 30 new pieces of creative a week. Right? So it's like very aggressively do that, and then watch just whether you hire me or you don't, just do that alone and watch your cost per book call come down.
I love it. Video ads, static image ads, text ads.
Depending on the volume of ads. So we'll test multiple different headlines. Same body, multiple different captions. Okay. Images, all static. Then we'll just start testing very aggressively on the static. Then we'll find, okay, which hook is working, which CTA is working. And then we'll keep finding exactly what's working. Take the static, then turn it into a GIF. Take the GIF, then turn it into a video.
Take the static image, turn it into a GIF, and then take the GIF and turn it into a video.
Because then it keeps us as the founders having to not consistently record ads all the time. And you've got to flow through. Then you know exactly what hook's working. You know exactly what body's working. And then you exactly know what CTA is working from the testing. You take that, you put it into a video. Now you've got a video that's going to work.
That format, what platforms can you apply that format to?
Meta.
I
mean, because that's where you can scale very fast, very quickly.
So one of the things that we haven't been allowed to talk about for many years is a lawsuit that you had with.
Yep.
I mean, I can just open there, but you basically built an app for ecosystem and then got sued by them. We're just on the front end of being able to talk about this. When this releases, we're going to deliberately clear the hurdle so that you legally can talk about it now. Tell me that story.
Yeah. So back in 2018, 2019, I partnered with a friend of mine at the time, and we built a company called that was essentially would be Instagram automation DMs.
What was the name of the platform? I remember it.
Direct Heroes.
Oh, Direct Heroes.
Yeah. Because I used to talk about it at War Room all the time.
Yeah, you guys blew up quickly with that too.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Right. And we got to the point where it's like we were working with some of the biggest influencers that you could think of. Launches were going crazy, all this other stuff. And to the point where we even had the US government reach out to wanting to use the platform.
Well, and to frame this is like what, 2017?
No. We started in 2018 and we started to really blow up in 2019, 2020. And then I got sued. Actually, it was my brother's birthday, October 1st.
Lovely.
ManyChat had been around at that point in time.
So what was the issue?
They came after us for scraping data, which we never did. Right. And that's the reason why I single-handedly took them on for 10 months. And literally was just like, I'm not like draining the living shit out of me doing this, but I was like, I know we were not doing what you're telling us to do. And essentially the way I like to talk about it is, if you've ever seen the movie Social Network and how they did the play-by-play to the twins, I can't remember what their names are, the brothers. And
Winklevoss.
That's what Winklevoss twins, yeah. They essentially played that playbook directly with my business partner and I at the time. And the craziest part is this makes me laugh because it's like, it's not just it's every major platform that does this when they want to just steal something from you. Because I know people that have had Amazon brand stolen from them, very successful ones, and then all of a sudden it shows up on Amazon's brand. Right. Sure. Right. Because they've seen the sales of it.
It's like Amazon's business model.
Exactly. Yeah. It's Amazon's business model.
Absolutely. Waiting for people to produce good shit, see that it sells, look at the data, and then just reproduce it themselves.
Yeah. And then kick them off the platform and 100%. Never abuse them. They sue you, or they send you a cease and desist lawsuit and the lawsuit at 4 p.m. on a Friday. And so you have 48 hours to respond. What lawyer is going to have a response by Sunday at 4 p.m.? Yeah. And then Sunday, 4 p.m. comes around, boom, I'm gone off the platforms. All my following is gone. I can't log into anything. And that just started a 10-month shit show from there.
Damn. How did that impact? So, I mean, there are a lot of questions around that, but how did that immediately you get kicked off of one of these platforms and you really have built your whole world
business around
it. Yeah.
At this point, I had well over 500,000 followers on Instagram.
Damn. Yeah. So what do you do first? First, how does it impact the business? And then what do you do first?
Well, for me, it was because, so at the time I still had GrowRev, right? And I had this other company. So me, it was like, I had to get into very defensive reactive mode. So I had to obviously protect GrowRev on one end because I'm like, that's still built on these platforms. I'm still running ads. I'm like, what is going to go on here? So it's like, I essentially had to react very quickly and remove any access that I had to that to GrowRev as a company and just be all in and focus on figuring out how to get that out. So that was more of a reactive play. Really, a lot of it was like, okay, well, what am I going to do now? And kind of figure this out while fighting the lawsuit at the exact same time. And then from there, it was just like dealing with the lawyers, going back and forth, consistently talking about it. You have nothing else to focus on. Either just do sales calls and get figure out a way to get sales calls on GrowRev or fight the lawsuit. That's literally all I could do when majority of my first part of my career was built on socials.
So you built a product around a major platform, huge need for people.
Huge need.
Got sued, wrapped up for 10 months.
Yeah.
Would you have done anything differently to redo it again today?
Probably hired the better lawyers right off the get-go. That's really, really the only thing that I could think of in that moment.
I think that that's highly relevant. I mean, I think that there's attorney fees when you're in business are a bitch because on a lot of levels you think, I'll just read it myself. Like, why am I, basically what you're paying attorneys for most of the time is research and to like read through contracts. And maybe it's negotiation, et cetera. And that's obviously before you ever go to trial or if you do that, right? But it feels like a waste of money.
It drained my complete bank account going through an entire lawsuit, like very aggressively doing that. Not like we had another attorney behind us, someone that you and I know very well, that helped me fight the suit. But it's like, it just got to the point where it's like, we were not getting any answers, and drag shit on. It wouldn't give us answers for weeks at a time on purpose, just leaving us. Then one day we'll get one random one-line answer from their lawyers on the opposite side. And like, they've got legal teams on legal teams on legal teams at full bore. And then eventually we found it and the funny part is I started talking about this in communities and I started having more and more conversations with people going through the same thing that done it too. And somehow found this lawyer, the one that helped us towards the end. And we just like, hey, what can you do here? He's like, send me the suit. He found it. Literally within 6 weeks of that happening, the whole thing was done.
I think it's like most things in life or in business, the good ones are worth their weight in gold.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even if the rest of them are fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At that point, it was like, obviously it was like, I was so reactive, right? Because the crazy part about the whole thing is too, is like looking, and I think back at it is like, they sued me on my brother's birthday. We were like, it's kind of fucking wild. Because they sued me on my brother's birthday. We're up in Whistler putting my dad's ashes into the water.
Oh, Jesus.
Into like the river there, just because that's one of the places my mom and dad would spend a lot of time together. And then I get a phone call from my business partner in the agency, and he goes, have you logged in on recently? I go, no. He goes, you might want to go try it. And he's like, you're gone. And I was like, fuck.
Damn. Damn.
So like at that point, it's like a gut punch, and you just don't know what the hell to do. And then it was just like, just do what you can do in the moment, and just kind of because you can't even really think clearly at that point. It's like, I've got all these customers, all these clients that I got to figure out either refund or not refund from. Don't know what to do. We had all these influencers that were getting ready to do big launches, can't do them. So it's like you're juggling multiple things on all ends at any given time. Along
with that, your social presence got stripped away and shut down.
Yeah, we'll go through. I'll tell you another story about the social presence thing, because when I came back, we can jump into it. So when I went, before I got taken out, I was well over 500,000 followers. Very active audience, very active. Like I would get 30, 40,000 story views, no problem. Come back, so they dropped the suit, or we decided to move away, give me my socials back, and I'm like 280,000 followers.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
And crazy.
So I was like, this doesn't make sense. I was like, there's no way in 10 months, magically, people have just unfollowed me for that. And I started posting, and I was like, I've fully been shadow banned. Like fully, like reach gone, like completely gone, story views gone. And then I started to notice, I was like I'm starting to look at my engagement, and I'm starting to look at people that I would just communicate with in the DMs. Don't follow me magically. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. They clearly went and wiped what would have been my top performing audience right off the get-go.
Damn.
the entirety of my business came from my social presence. Right. Like it was this single channel of marketing that I was doing very aggressively at the time. Like I was one of the very first, I'd say probably influencers in that world, if you want to call it that, doing shout outs when shout outs were a thing in like 2016, 2017. Right. So it's like I was just cleaning house early days on those platforms. So it took a huge hit for me from a revenue perspective.
Okay. So that collapsed. You got back, had no reach. In 2019, 2020, you had grown your social presence through shout outs and other. Shuts it down. 2025 is a totally different era relative to social influence and that model working, especially with the platforms throttling reach and being more deliberate. How has your approach changed from 2019 to 2025 relative to social influence?
Yeah. So like I said, I came back, went pretty hard, did the whole annotate strategy for about a year.
And double click on that.
So essentially it's having multi accounts, so like 5-6 different Instagram pages, 5-6 different TikTok pages, all feeding to one. Before clipping was a thing, because clipping now is becoming more and more of a thing.
Yeah.
So I started doing that. And then I got to the point where I was like, I'm not really a fan of this content. I wanted, like, my values in life changed. Everything else changed. I was like, I just decided I'm just going to take a year and a half off. So I pretty much stopped officially posting about a year and a half ago. Like officially Instagram, we slowed it down. So September of last year. So I've been a full year on Instagram, but I've just I just took a step back and I looked at, okay, how is the platforms working today? So I looked at TikTok, I looked at LinkedIn, I looked at Instagram, looked at YouTube, everything else, what's working. And now I'm starting to come back again, one by one, like very aggressively. So in November of last year, I decided to start on LinkedIn, a platform that I wasn't using much. Just posting just every single day. Saw a bit of reach. I decided to start working with these guys that you're now working with as well. And then come January of this year, it just hit. And I had a post that went like 2 million views viral. And then since then, I've grown 60,000 followers, I think. That's between January and May of this year on LinkedIn. And it's a lot of the content that I'm talking about there is essentially talking about marketing. Like, one of the things, like, LinkedIn is a lot of B2B audiences, a lot of brand. A lot of brand that I talk to don't understand direct response, right? So it's like I'm bringing direct response to brand. So that's a lot of what I talk about on LinkedIn. And since then, it's just been massive growth there. What I'm doing on TikTok is, the easiest way is TikTok's people there for entertainment. Call it spade a spade. So essentially what I'm doing on TikTok is just going on fucking yapping about bullshit content and just the things that people would get triggered by. And the reason being is because if I can get audience engagement there on that platform, I know I'm going to be able to get some kind of viewership top of funnel. So the way the way I'm looking at it now is TikTok, just be an ignorant douchebag and yap as much as I possibly can, but do it in a way of giving value, right? And then on Instagram, it's kind of a mix between what I'm posting on LinkedIn and then what I'm doing on TikTok. So it's kind of a mix of those. So it's kind of that's my home ground that I'm doing. And then on YouTube, when I come on YouTube, because we're going to launch a whole brand new channel on YouTube now, it's just sit down, shoot to the camera, but full value-based, what is working now content. And that's literally all I'm doing, keeping it simple, and then adding clipping on top of all of that through the platform that I'm working with, which is Fanbases, because they're launching a clipping platform. This will probably come out in July, I'm assuming. So it'll already be up by then with their clipping platform, and then just pushing as many pages as I can for viewership.
So I kind of look at YouTube as a separate platform from Facebook, the meta platforms, Facebook, Insta, or TikTok or LinkedIn. Those are the social platforms. YouTube is a search engine.
It is,
right?
Massively.
Yeah. And there's and they do, their short form stuff definitely has a different engagement metric. Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's the
shorts or whatever they call
it.
Yeah,
the shorts are, I always interchange shorts, reels. But how do you think about, one of the things that you just said that I think is interesting is even having a presence on TikTok is what's the point if your audience ultimately is B2B and LinkedIn clearly is the place that those people are? Why bother with TikTok?
There's a lot of B2B people hanging out on TikTok as well. Because think about it, people like me and you, or even some of the people that we work with, they're mindlessly scrolling. And if I can get their attention from some trigger-based business content, they're going to listen.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it just seems so fucking irritating to make shit like that.
It is, but it's like, it's literally just, it's so fucking easy, to be honest. Like,
really?
It's so fucking, literally, I just, my social girl will send me a hook and kind of what you want me to talk about or something that, or it's like, like the other day I got here on Sunday, on Saturday, for example, I was with my kids all day and I literally was like on Instagram after I put them to bed and everything else. And I'm on Instagram and I'm watching these alpha males movement talking about this shit, and I'm just like watching it and they're complaining about living life in balance and blah 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 blah, and I just got completely fucking triggered by it, and I was like, this is a perfect video. So it's like business, I'm like, you want to be fucking talk about you running life in balance doesn't fucking exist at a certain scale, right? And I just went off on talking about that, and we posted it, like literally took off on TikTok.
Shit.
Yeah. Which I think you do a good job of that because you have a lot of triggering stuff that you can say to get attention.
You know, it's interesting. I personally, I don't know, man. I think there's a question for me around, do I want to do things that are triggering for the sake of them being triggering because I know that they're going to get clicks, or do I want to be more authentic in my approach to things and be like, I'm not trying to stir the pot.
That's kind of like it's kind of confuse and deliver too, right? Like I do kind of like that audience.
Say more.
So the reason why I'm doing it too is like, you look at me on fucking LinkedIn, it's like prim, proper post, looks good, newsletter, talking about all the crazy stuff that I've done through networking, all this other. So it's like this entire like white collared buttoned up guy on fucking LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. But then it's like, who's the true me on the other side is on TikTok. So it's like at some point they're going to see me through multi different platforms, but it's like giving them the entertainment on all ends. So it's like, if I can get them from being triggered and pull them into my Instagram, for example, or pull them into my YouTube, and they could see me being a much more serious person that I know I can be, and then also give them true business value. It's like, they're going to see the true me, right? Versus just being the buttoned up proper person and then go out in a 3-day fucking bender with them after.
Yeah. So do you think about an escalation path from one platform to the other?
Yeah. So the way we're doing it right now, it's pretty much TikTok. It's TikTok to Instagram or TikTok to YouTube that's going to go. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then from there, what we're going to do is we're also putting them into a newsletter now, because the same LinkedIn company is also working on my newsletter, putting them onto the newsletter. And then from there, the ecosystem is just to retarget them through and then also feed some ads with all of my other LinkedIn content. So then that way they're seeing me omnipresent on all platforms.
Interesting. And this is all top of funnel lead gen for you?
All top of funnel lead gen, yeah. And the goal is to build the newsletter list and give as much feedback in the newsletter list, because then that's where I know I'll be able to convert all business content in the
newsletter.
In the newsletter.
So one of the things that I think people struggle with in general is this feeling that they have to be on social. They have to have content being created all the time. They have to have a personal brand. Yet some of the most successful people I know have no social presence and are just fucking head down building the fuck out of a giant business. Yeah. Who should be on social doing this and who should not?
The way I look at it now is, if you don't enjoy it and it truly doesn't give you, like, I wouldn't say passion because passion is the wrong word, fulfillment, I guess you could say, and actually enjoying it. Like, you're not dreading waking up, I got to shoot a video or some bullshit like that thought coming into your head, go do it. But if you don't, then just figure out how you can build it without that. I know plenty of companies plenty of founders that don't do any content. I just enjoy it. Right. Like, and then the opposite side of it is like, on one end is like, it'd be a disservice for me not to share some of the stuff that I'm doing because I enjoy it so much and I can give the value back in exchange for me continuing. And I saw it firsthand when I had the large following and how much of a revenue boost that built for me.
Yeah, that's a good point though. If you don't enjoy it, you're probably not going to produce something good anyway.
Exactly. Then don't do it.
Yeah.
But then the opposite side of it is, you could do stuff like what we're doing on LinkedIn and just outsource the whole thing.
Right. 99% of the time that fucking goes sideways.
It does, but it takes time to, like, I've been through, like, even for me to get to the point of working with the guys that we're working with today, I tested a bunch of different people.
Sure.
Before we got to this point.
Yeah. I have a general approach to interacting with creatives, which is, and this is true of graphic designers, it's true of video, it's true of social, it's true of writers. If you aren't aligned with them right away, the likelihood of getting aligned
is impossible.
It's pretty low. Yeah. Yeah, like you basically have to look at somebody's body of work and be like, oh, that's already kind of what I want.
Yeah.
And they're not going to have to tweak much to be directly aligned with what I like. Right.
Yeah. And it takes time to get there too. Like even for me to get to the point of like knowing the way I wanted to come back on socials, it was like I wasn't in a hurry by any means, but I also wanted someone that could understand me and my fucking train of thought of why I wanted to do it. And then when I finally found the girl that we're working with today, I was just like, and then she went and put this entire insane plan and brought it to me as part of her interview. I was like, yeah, you get it. Right. It's like, and I had interviewed a ton of people before doing that because it's like I just want to be able to like, this is my idea. This is my vision. Let's go delegate this. You figure out what needs to happen.
Yeah. You have to find the right people for that stuff.
Yeah. And it took me about 5 months before I found the right person.
Yeah. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about AI. You mentioned a tool that you're building to help basically analyze the different ad platforms and what's going to work, what's not. What do you think is going to happen with marketing agencies with AI in the next 5 years?
I've had two-sided thought around this because it's like people are like, oh, marketing agencies are going to go obsolete. I think a vast majority of them will. I think there's still going to be a need for the big guys to be the big guys that are going to be around that can actually understand marketing. Like, look at the Zimmermans or the Omnicoms or, the Horizons. Like those guys aren't fucking going anywhere. They're just going to be able to, they're just going to have to get really good at leveraging the tools and condensing their teams and being able, and then it's going to become a price battle. Right. I could be completely fucking wrong. And I'm totally open with that too. But like with everything that we're doing internally right now inside of our companies, like we're just looking at every department because our biggest cost is people. Like on our P&Ls is people. So it's like, okay, well, what is our biggest cost? People. How can we use AI to navigate that to bring our profit margins up, which we could also bring our prices down, which means we can also scale. Right. So that's kind of what we've done. Like we've taken our entire creative team and cut it in half in the last 90 days just by using AI. And now we're going to do this with a tool with the media buying. And then obviously the account management, it's kind of hard to put an AI bot that's going to be able to communicate with the clients. Because I think like as much as our world sits in this whole AI bucket of like AI is going fast and it is going stupidly fast, there's a whole world of business out there that people aren't even aware of what to do with AI on their businesses.
100%.
Right. So it's like, it's just bringing that to the market at some point in time.
Do you think that in aggregate AI is helping or hurting marketing right now?
I think it's both. It's helping it on one side, but then it's also hurting it because it's giving people the opportunity to think that they can be the next best marketer just by writing sales copy directly off of ChatGPT or Claude or something like
that. I think that most of the shit that I see done now is probably hurting more than it's helping.
Yeah.
And I think the people that are sort of adjusting how they approach everything they're doing and kind of throw everything they're doing out the window and saying, hey, my entire process is going to change right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to interact with the robot and navigate through it. But that's now part of the creative process, right? As opposed to just robot gave it to me, copy paste.
Copy paste. Like, if you're just going to robot gave it to me, copy paste and not use your true like human brain to clean it up, I think you are definitely doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, I think it's also really relevant to note that the fucking robots are wrong all the time. Like not some of the time.
Majority of the time.
All the fucking time. Yeah, the standard, there is no standard of care with the robots.
Yeah.
No. I was doing some like statistical analysis with stuff and it was just wrong.
Yeah.
And I responded and I'm not going to throw the platform under the bus, but responded and I was like, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. What I did was tripled this number inadvertently. And I was like, what the fuck?
Where did you decide to come up with that?
Why did you triple the number?
Yeah.
But at least it had the wherewithal to know that it tripled the number, but it was bizarre. So normally I interrupt the show to promote EPD, to tell you about credit card processing. But today I'm going to tell you about our partner program. If you know other business owners that accept credit cards and you refer them to Easy Pay Direct, you will get paid a percentage of what we make for the life of the account. As long as they're processing, you can build a residual for doing nothing, just the introduction. You can do that by going to epd.com/BAM partners. That's epd.com/BAM partners. All right. So you've got, you're spending a significant amount of time building presence on a bunch of different platforms. Ultimately, most people that we see, and I say this as somebody that has, had tens of thousands of businesses come through our pipeline. And a huge chunk, like 20% of our audience are info people, right?
Mm.
Creators, consultants, coaches, et cetera. Most of them drive for vanity metrics. Most of them want views and followers, but don't have a good way to monetize. What is your path to building social influence and then converting that into business?
Yeah. So what I'm doing, the one thing, like the term that I like to use is the infinite loop concept. Me and Sean Boston were actually talking about this a little while ago because I was explaining the theory around it. And he's like, that's actually very well thought out. And we'll use LinkedIn, for example, right? Right now on LinkedIn, I'm getting absurd amount of growth and views, like crazy amount of views. That tools that you can use. So it's like what I've done now is I'm taking my LinkedIn comments. We'll use that as an example, just one, and using AI tools that are peeling the comments that are getting me all of their emails and then as well as phone numbers. And then I'm taking that, feeding it into platforms like Instantly or Smartly or Revring and cold emailing them directly saying, hey, thanks for commenting on my LinkedIn post. Thought you might want to be part of my newsletter. So now they've seen me on LinkedIn and now all of a sudden I show up in their inbox. They're like, who the fuck is this guy? Right. And then if they don't opt into the newsletter within 72 hours, I'm going to start hitting them with retargeting ads. So it's like taking one point of approach and getting them to see me multiple times. And at some point they're going to be like, this guy clearly understands marketing because he keeps showing up in my feed from different platforms from a comment that I made on a post of his on LinkedIn. How the fuck is he doing this? Which then eventually opens up conversations, opens up the DMs, and then that turns into a consulting call or turns into a done for you client on the GrowRev side.
Are you doing any LinkedIn inbox outreach?
We are starting that. It's not started right now, but it's like the inbox inbound right now is so aggressive that I can't even keep up with that.
Yeah. I mean, LinkedIn, their inbox, because they allow in-mail, it's just, there's so much spammy shit. If
there's trash in there for sure.
Oh, if I see in-mail at all, I'm not even looking at it. Now that said, there are a bunch of creative ways, and there are only a couple tools that do it, but there are a couple tools that will do automated follow-up for LinkedIn inbox, right? And it'll sequence too. So it's full marketing automation platform specific to LinkedIn DMs.
And there was one I think we were testing years ago. I think it was called Cleverly, I believe. I think I can't remember.
We've used a platform called Dripify. And the problem is that these platforms come and go. But Dripify basically allows you to the hook with LinkedIn that we've had. We use LinkedIn for outreach for recruiting, and one of the because you can target based on role in company, right? So we can tell who's in our industry, who's with whatever company, what role they're in, yada yada. So you can send a request to be a connection on LinkedIn, and in the body of the request, you can have a message. And that's different than most platforms where you're just, you're adding them as a follower or a friend or whatever. In LinkedIn, you can actually put a message in the request. And so that request, they see the first message.
So you're already setting the frame.
You're already setting the frame, and they know why you're reaching out to connect. And if you keep that simple, you get a connection. And then you can have an automated follow-up that then talks to them based on that.
That's kind of cool. So you're using that initial connection message as your original outbound. And then from there, hit them after. That's pretty smart.
And it's functionally like your opt-in, right?
Yeah, that's pretty
They're
smart.
like, I'll talk to you. And then you can have branched logic based on it.
Based on how they respond and respond and everything else.
What do you think about staying? So you brought up a good point, though, which is you get this feeling of omnipresence if you hit them with an email after or a retargeting ad. How do you feel about hitting them in the LinkedIn DM versus following up with an email?
Probably helps. I just haven't done it. Right. Like, and that's the reason why it's like, there's only so many things that me as a person can handle. That's the reason like the entire conversation this morning was around, okay, well, we've got so many things going. Like, let's just build a fucking moat around it and then build this entire, what I like to call infinite loop. So then that way it's like, if they don't tell me to fuck off on my emails and don't email me again, but I could still hit them through an ad.
Right.
Now they're like, okay, this guy's not going anywhere. Right. Like, and then eventually they'll probably see me on socials because now they've interacted through something. And it's like that pixeled audience are going to start getting picked up and get shared all around. And then that's where it's also like, okay. And then I might show up in their TikTok feed and just being a troll and they think I'm funny. Now all of a sudden it goes back to, oh, I should probably talk to this guy. Right. You just don't know which way it's going to go. And it's like the broader you go, in my opinion, in today's day and age, I think the better it's going to be with your content going forward.
Man, I struggle with that because there's, on the one hand, this goes back to kind of your idea around ads and figuring out one platform that's going to work and scaling that one platform before you go broad into other things.
What I mean, I went all in on LinkedIn. Since November of last year, I've not done anything else but LinkedIn. Right. So I did get it, dialed it in, but now I'm leveraging that B2B platform to see how many other places can I hit them. So yes, take one, go deep. And once you go deep, then start diversifying and use how do we leverage that audience to go somewhere else? An interesting one that I've studied recently is we're talking about TikTok, right? And like how the troll content and triggering content. There's a guy that's absolutely fucking blowing up right now, and he's done a phenomenal job. He's out of China. His brand, it's called LC Sign. I don't know if you've seen his stuff. All of his stuff is just absolute troll content. Like literally troll content. He just takes like viral videos of like trolls that are going live, and then it's just the opening video is that, and then it cuts to him in his warehouse in China, and he's just being a troll in the video, and then he talks about his lighting company, and it's just the craziest fucking thing. And he's gone like millions and millions and millions of followers, and someone did an interview. They flew to China, did an interview with him, and he talked about the entire growth that the company's had since that went viral. And that's all him being a troll. That guy right there, yeah.
Totally unrelated intro, and then go straight to his lighting pitch.
Yeah, like see this a troll. Divorce, because it is his job to feed me. The fuck I look like?
A fridge. Anyways, neon signs like this are good at first glance. The acrylic we use.
That's hilarious.
All of his content is that.
Yeah. So what I would expect with this shit, and this is like, it's interesting because when I think about attention, I very much especially paid ads. In paid ads, like you want targeted responses, because you end up, if you broaden the aperture and you end up with just like a shitload of people that aren't your target market that come into the funnel, your conversion is going to be terrible right? And if you have a human component, you're going to waste your staff's time like a motherfucker. So what I would expect with being a troll and then just like pitching some shit afterwards, you'd have a much, 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 much lower % conversion, but maybe you just get enough exposure that it makes sense.
And then the shareability of people, and like, those videos are getting shared like crazy on the internet.
That probably makes the most sense if you have a product to sell that has a really broad audience. Like
I'm going to test some videos like that as well, and just kind of go straight clipping it and see how it does. And see
I'm not fucking with that shit.
What? You're not, but I like this is the kind of stuff that I want to, as a marketer, I want to test and try.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. If I was selling something other than payment processing, I might play with that.
Well, I'm selling marketing services.
I know. You're in the same boat, man.
But I'm just like, at the end of the day, it's like, can I entertain small businesses and come out of that?
Yeah. Yeah, you could do front end stuff that's like entertaining small business related shit. This is like totally unrelated troll shit, you know.
I'm going to try it.
You're going to try whatever.
You'll see some random fucking videos in your TikTok or Instagram feed with me doing some shit like that. You're going to be like, I remember him talking about this on this podcast.
That's hilarious.
But it's there's a YouTube video. I can send you the YouTube video after if you want to watch it. And like, he literally talks about the insane growth that the company's had because of these videos. Like, it's wild. But like, that's a perfect strategy if someone's watching and doing, let's just call it a e-commerce business. I'd be doing shit like this.
Yeah, if you're doing an e-com biz and specifically the product is something that appeals to a broad audience, then you can have tons of open front end stuff to get attention. Yeah, because the people that are going to watch it, a higher percentage of them are going to buy for sure, or potential candidates. Yeah. Okay, well, we have lots of other conversations to have off air. The question I like to ask is, we are now officially in like a full board entrepreneurial community, entrepreneurial ecosystem, where like the world has shifted from career to, we were calling it the gig economy, but I think we've gone past that with like, you have the ability to spin up businesses really quickly and accelerate. And as a result, you've got a whole generation that is coming of age that's their path. They want to do their own thing. What advice do you have for a brand new entrepreneur?
Two-sided. One is, we were talking about this with someone that we had dinner with the other day. If you're coming in and you're young, just humble yourself and learn. And that's, it's coming directly from what I did. It's like, even the rooms that we were in, it's like when I was first in those rooms, I just shut up and fucking listen, right? Do that. And two is put your ego aside and just go all in on one thing. A lot of the times that I'm seeing the young new entrepreneurs today is like they're just so spread apart and so distracted, and because opportunities everywhere, especially being on the internet. It's like whatever you decide to pick on, just take that one thing and keep going. It's like no different than the conversation that I have all the time with people like, why do you still run GrowRev today? It's like, why would we've had this conversation?
Yeah.
It's like I've been so far down this rabbit hole for so damn long. What am I just gonna 180 and fuck off? Like it doesn't make sense. It's like, and the one that masters that skill, it's like I could take that skill now to anything I do moving forward. So it's like, shut up and listen. Don't objectify your opinions on things because you have no life experiences in the business and entrepreneurship world. Go learn and give it everything you've got.
Yeah, I love that. I think that the most common thing I hear relative to that are people starting out feeling like they tried and they did it for 6 months.
Bro, I didn't even see any success or what you would even consider success the first 4 years.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's got to be I think with most things in life, it serves you to have some confines around what you're doing and set some structure around what you're doing. And with business saying, hey, I'm going to give it X amount of time before I even bother reevaluating. Yeah. And this is all I'm doing for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is.
And in today's day and age, I think giving it at least and giving it 100% a year, not saying I'm going to semi-give it and then go scroll TikTok and Instagram and just fucking dopamine chase the whole time, but like be fully dedicated in whatever you're doing for an entire year. You should come out the other side with something to show.
You've built a bunch of, this is going to be an interesting question because you're focused on being omnipresent. Where do you want to point people? If they want to find out more about you.
If you want to find out more about me, LinkedIn or Instagram probably be the two places. Like if you want to see like what I'm sharing on LinkedIn is from what's working now for marketing or theories around brand and direct response there. If you want to just see me and kind of a mixture of who I am really and hanging out with this guy and doing some fun stuff all around the world is Instagram.
Love it. Yeah. Rohan Sheth, always good to see you, man.
Thanks for having me again.
For sure.
My director of marketing told me to read this. Thank you for tuning in to Beyond a Million. If you liked this podcast, please subscribe and drop a comment below. We'd love to know your thoughts. If you want to learn the strategies that our guests such as Neil Patel, Amy Porterfield, and Grant Cardone use to scale their business, you can find more episodes on our website at beyondamillion.com.